Welcome back to the Lux Lifestyle channel, where we give future millionaires and billionaires inspiration to go after their dreams and live on their terms. In today's video, we look at megacities of the future that are expanding fast and how they'll cope with the tremendous problems of growing urbanization. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Lux Lifestyle channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss any inspiring videos we put out for you budding entrepreneurs, and don't forget to leave your comments below. Tell us what you'd like to see us create for you next. Now let's get on with it. In 1930, the metropolitan region of New York became the world's first megacity with a population of over 10 million people. Tokyo overtook New York 20 years later. Since then, over 30 megacities have sprung up around the world, with Tokyo leading the way until the present day. However, urbanization in the 21st century has primarily occurred in poor and rising countries, with the UN projecting that by 2050, 2/3 of the world's population will be living in cities. As a result, more and more megacities will spring up over the planet. New York is number 7 on the list. The city that never sleeps is probably the world's most influential big city worldwide. That's why they call it the Big Apple. There are 113 billionaires and over 1 million millionaires in New York City. America's melting pot welcomes various countries, cultures, and ethnicities, and is home to some of the world's most recognizable structures. Despite the fact that New York's population has decreased over the last 4 years, the metropolitan region is predicted to grow from 19 million to 25 million people in the next 25 to 30 years. Housing will be one of the primary issues for the growing megacity. Mega projects like the Hudson Yard mega development are helping New York meet these housing needs. The 28-acre mega development will cost over $24 billion to build and will take 10 plus years to complete. Thousands more of affordable housing units will be added to the city in the future decades, thanks to developments like Pacific Parks and Hunters Point South. Climate change, on the other hand, poses the greatest threat to New York. The water level in New York is increasing, and the city faces frequent flooding in the future. As a result, the state has committed to reducing net greenhouse gas emissions by 2050 by sourcing 100% of its electricity from carbon-free sources. In 2019, the Mayor's Office of New York City launched One NYC, a $20 billion portfolio of activities aimed at acclimating the city to become more climate change friendly. Then there's Mexico City. Mexico City, with an elevation of almost 2,000 meters or 6,561.68 feet, is easily the world's most elevated megacity. It is one of the world's oldest cities, with almost 22 million people living in the metropolitan region. Mexico City's most distinctive trait, as well as its greatest problem, distinguishes it from other megacities. It is the only megacity on the planet without direct access to a large body of water, and brings huge challenges that this renowned city faces as time goes on. Mexico City will have a population of nearly 24 million people by 2050, and making sure that all that people that live in the megacity have clean water will become a major challenge. Taking rainfall from the sky and storing it is one solution to this problem. Mexico City receives more annual rainfall than London, and the municipal administration has devised a strategy to make the most of it. In the next 6 years, the government plans to build over 100,000 rooftop water collection devices, which will supply safe drinking water to 10 million people. Because of its dense population and sensitive geographic location, Mexico City will be more exposed to air pollution and natural emergencies. By supporting crucial projects like the Breathe Life campaign and earthquake-resistant skyscrapers, the city is well on its way to combating these concerns. The Torre Reforma, which won the 2018 International High-Rise Award for being the world's most creative high-rise, is one of them. Shanghai is 5th. The first push for China's financial center occurred in the late 1980s, and the country has made amazing development in the subsequent 30 years. The city's infrastructure is of exceptional quality, and this urbanization process will continue for the next 30 years. As more people move into the city, the infrastructure difficulties will become more severe. China, on the other hand, appears to have these infrastructural issues under control, owing to the enormous demand of Chinese industry, which has resulted in hundreds of millions of Chinese people flocking into the city. to figure out how to control the huge amount of people moving into the major cities. That is why China is constructing so-called first overspill communities around some of its megacities, which can accommodate millions of people. Shanghai's urban planners want to include human-centered design into the city's urbanization process to make it more efficient. Shanghai will undergo a transformation from a crazy populated active city to a cultured global hub. Urban planners encourage the use of green technology and renewable energy into their designs, especially open public areas, in order to create low-carbon communities. 3,500 square kilometers of ecologically protected area are included in the plans for future towns. Shanghai is regarded as the most flood-prone large city in the world. With this in mind, catastrophe-resilient efforts, including a smart flood wall, are being implemented in Shanghai's coastal areas. Tokyo is the fourth city. Tokyo's metropolitan region has a population of 38 million people, far more than any other city on the planet. Tokyo is known as the world's model megacity, with a GDP that exceeds that of all but 8 countries. The huge train networks, which are utilized by 14 million passengers every day, make Tokyo a megacity hotspot for growth and logistic planning challenge. Unlike the other megacities on this list, Tokyo's population is declining, and by 2050 it will be down to around 32 million inhabitants. The reason for this is a reduced birth rate and an older population, as well as the fact that most young people in Tokyo aged 13 to 34 want to remain single, according to certain research. This will not prevent Tokyo from reaching new heights as a global model of urban growth. Tokyo, already a leader in sustainable living, has set a goal of becoming carbon neutral in the next 2 to 3 decades. Green innovation will be supported by the city through digitalization, as well as the advancement of technology for next-generation solar batteries and carbon recycling. Natural disasters are what Tokyo needs to be better prepared for. Experts predict that the next major earthquake of a magnitude 7 will strike Tokyo in the next decade or 2 at most. Thousands of people could perish and 3.4 million people could be evacuated in a single day. Tokyo, on the other hand, is already prepared for this. The city is constructing high-tech towers that will swing rather than break. There are even emergency toilets in the parks, and the city has the world's largest fire department. All of the preparations, as with every natural disaster, are only as good as the execution on the ground. Our third are Lagos and Kinshasa. The next 2 African cities on the list will be among the world's top 10 most inhabited cities in 2050. Lagos is Nigeria's most populated city, with official estimates putting the megacity's present population at about 15 million people. According to most forecasts, this number will expand by a factor of 2, reaching about 32 million by 2050. Kinshasa, the capital and largest city of the Democratic Republic of Congo, shows a similar picture. A metropolis with 14.34 million people in 2020 would surpass Lagos to become Africa's largest city with 35 million residences. The main issue for these 2 megacities in the face of huge population growth is expanding infrastructure to satisfy the growing demands. Kinshasa is addressing the issue with the assistance of China, as the Democratic Republic of Congo just joined China's One Belt, One Road initiative. The infrastructure effort in Lagos is largely reliant on the game-changing Eco-Atlantic Housing Project. A planned city is being built on reclaimed land along the Atlantic Ocean's coast. The project's goal is to make Lagos the financial capital of not only Nigeria, but the whole African continent. The new development is expected to have at least 250,000 people once completed, with a daily commuter flow of 150,000. Kinshasa and Lagos are taking huge leaps forward, but these 2 megacities of the future risk alienating millions of people who still live in poverty. They must consider the future of the most vulnerable citizens in any future plans. Dhaka is the second city on the list. Bangladesh's capital is one of the world's fastest expanding megacities. The population of 21 million people in 2021 is expected to grow to nearly 35 million by 2050. Bangladesh is frequently referred to as the ground zero for climate change impact. According to experts, 17% of overall land area will be underwater by 2050, making Dhaka the least desirable choice for thousands of migrants every year. Every year, almost 500,000 migrants arrive in this metropolis, many of them becoming part of the city's rising population. Dhaka is facing significant issues as a result of its massive population growth. The city's traffic is congested, the city's air quality is deteriorating, and over 4 million people live in slums. But it isn't all doom and gloom. By 2030, the city will have finished the Dhaka Metro, a metro rail system that will relieve daily traffic congestion in the metropolis. The $3 billion project is part of Dhaka's strategic transportation strategy, which would add about 5,000 buses to drive and move the megacities people along 160 routes. These and other improvements must be completed quickly in order to boost the city's economic prospects. Dhaka's population's resiliency is the one element working in its favor. Despite the enormous issues, inhabitants remain optimistic, and the influx of talented and educated young youth could be Dhaka's ticket out of its dire situation. Finally, there's Mumbai and Delhi. Given that India is expected to be the world's most populous country by 2050, it's no surprise that India would host the world's two largest megacities. Delhi, the country's capital, will have a population of over 36 million people, which is still a long way behind Mumbai, the country's financial hub, which will have a population of over 42 million. The majority of the changes in the two megacities will be noticeable in terms of infrastructure. The $90 billion Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor is a massive project currently in the works. The corridor will be 1,483 kilometers or 921.49 miles and will link two of the world's most important future cities. There will be 24 investment and industrial sectors along the corridor, as well as industrial smart cities, 2 international airports, India's first high-speed rail line, and multiple power projects. Not only that, but there are also plans to introduce Hyperloop 1 to India. People will be able to travel between the two megacities in as little as 80 minutes thanks to the next generation of transportation infrastructure, which will move them at speeds of up to 1,300 kilometers or 807.77 miles per hour. By 2050, it's safe to predict that Delhi and Mumbai will not only be the two largest megacities, but also the two most technologically advanced. Well, there you have it, Lux Lifestyle family. You plan on living in one of those megacities in the next 30 years, or are you living in one of them now? Let us know in the comments below. If you like this video, check out one of the other ones we have for you on screen. Keep you inspired. Till next time, ciao.